the ingredients needed to take an anime beyond greatness and into legend? Is it the reliable and hearty cast of characters who stick together through it all? Is it a villain with all-encompassing power? Is it a production story so horrific that the story lives on through infamy? Or perhaps, is it something much smaller than that? Sure, Space Dandy may not be as legendary as its comparative partner, Cowboy Bebop, and in most ways, some may even say it's lacking in some areas.
Rejection? But I'm Dandy.
I feel that Space Dandy is Watanabe doing what Watanabe does best, letting the story take control, in some ways quite literally. Every episode of Space Dandy, save for the last two, are completely separate, wonderful gallivants into self-contained worlds in which the only mainstays, Dandy and his crew of the Aloha Oi, interact. This could be anything from Dandy and crew having a dance-off to the death against a rare alien, to simply having to return a library book that may or may not erase your memory of ever checking it out. In space, anything is possible, whether you live through it or not.
I knew there was a reason I hadn't used this trick before, but hey, at least I die with a full head of hair.
The beauty of a show that, for the most of its run, does not confine itself to trivial matters such as plot and coherence, is that you get to learn a lot more about the characters than I feel you would learn from a linear narrative. In a straightforward story, characters exist more as devices than tangible beings. They exist to interact within the narrative space, and once they're finished interacting with it, they no longer exist. Done right, this leaves us to only imagine what they go on to do, as if the story had never ended. A show like Space Dandy, so lackadaisical in its approach to storytelling, lends itself more to showing the character of those who inhabit it, mainly our titular Dandy. Though separate, each Dandy is very much the same. He's a man with very clear ambitions.
QT, punch in the coordinates.
The coordinates to where?
What, it's not obvious? To boobies, of course.
Motivation that influences his choices.
Give me that! I'm going to boobies! You can take this funeral and shove it!
And a strong moral code.
When those girls get a load of Dandy, I'm gonna be the cock of the walk, baby.
As the show progresses though, this veneer wears, and more of his character becomes visible. He may be a bounty hunter, but this does not mean he's lost his humanity. This side of him becomes visible even from the second episode, but is most visible in the fifth episode. Placing Dandy in a parental position shows that, though he may share some sentiments of the comparative cowboy, he warms up much faster, going so far as to search all night for Adley's grandfather so they could be reunited in episode 5. So what exactly is the measure of a man whose personality we only see for 25 minutes at a time? It's vast and all-encompassing, my friend. Dandy is the Barbie of the galaxy. Trucker, singer, dancer, zombie. He's done it all. He simultaneously is the only factor that allows this world to exist, and yet the world also seems to exist without him just fine. My favorite episodes of Space Dandy fluctuate depending on my last rewatch, but a constant number 1 is episode 12, titled Nobody Knows the Chameleon Alien, Baby. The premise of the episode is that while on the hunt for a rare chameleon-like alien, the alien ends up among the crew of the Aloha Oi, sending them into a frenzy chasing after it.
Oh, give it a rest, you faker! You're the faker, you faker! Oh yeah, then who are you? I'm who you wish you were, pal. I'm me, baby, so there! I'm way more me than you! You're not you, you fraud, I'm you! I'm the real me! No, you're the fake me! Who's that make you?
I'm not sure who's who.
You are so me. Right back at you. I'm you, okay? Well, I'm you too.
Hell, they're not sure who's who.
The looser humor and Saturday morning cartoon-style chases perfectly fit my sense of humor. While I'm sure it's not the best episode to showcase how good the show can actually be, I never get tired of the kooky jokes I can always see coming and the sheer simplicity of it all. This episode was directed by Satoshi Saga, who also has animated on various other series, including Dirty Pair and Wotakoi Love is Hard for Otaku.
I just want to be able to laugh like I don't have a care in the universe. Yes. Like this.
My second favorite, though rapidly shoving episode 12 out of its place, comes from Space Dandy's more mature, but not that mature second season. Episode 15, aka Season 2, Episode 2, also known as There's Music in the Darkness, Baby. Directed by Toshiaki Kitokoro, also known for Madoka Magica and Haven't You Heard Him, Sakamoto. The premise is this. Hot girl sends Dandy a letter wanting to meet him, so he zooms over only to find that it's no girl waiting for him, but a ukulele-playing rare alien that, really wants to kill him and wear his body for its smile. Totally romantic. This episode is one of my favorites because the tonal change of the episode is done quite nicely.
These two here. I'm pretty sure I know them.
Oh, those? Recent acquisitions. they didn't work out. You know how it is. Their smiles just weren't quite right.
Not cool.
Sorry?
Not cool. You turned them into statues?
There's a point in the episode where it becomes clear that Dandy is really no better than the rest of his crew. And there's also a certain satisfaction in the fact that he considers his crew his friends as well. Of course, it also goes without saying that the villain's arc, Dandy's arc, and the minor character's arc are all tied together nicely at the end, involving the River of Time. The River of Time in itself is just a very cool concept, and I think any excuse for space surfing is a good one anyway. The comedy and the drama interact and are displayed fantastically in this episode. As with Cowboy Bebop, a Watanabe original project would be incomplete without an English dub worth noting, and I must note it. Ian Sinclair is, without any form of exaggeration, the perfect voice for Dandy. Space Dandy was one of the first shows to be broadcast to the States in simuldub, meaning that the episodes aired dubbed in English before or at nearly the same time as they were aired in Japan. While it is likely the case that Sinclair takes more from Seiyu Junichi Suabe than any other source, for a lot of American viewers, their first contact with the show was with its English dub, as that's what premiered first on Toonami in 2014.
Time to give the ass the respect it deserves. Too many women have been wronged for too long. Like poor Agnes Lum, objectified only for her boobs. It's a crime, I tell ya.
I don't know who that is! Why are we even talking about this? Can't we let the narrator do the prologue first?
Ian Sinclair has since gone on to bigger and better things, but a part of me is unable to tear him away from Dandy's image. It's like the stars aligned for his voice and performance of the character. In conclusion, I don't think there is a set staple for legendary anime. An anime that stands the test of time is simply an anime that you hold closely and cherish. We all wish that the shows we could see or great get the acclaim they deserve, but sometimes this is not the case. I think Space Dandy is a show that in time will become revered for its content as well as for the innovations it allowed to form.
I recognize that melody. Yeah, that's totally it.